Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be here with you today on episode 2082 of the Cabral Concept, our Mindset and Motivation Monday show of the week. Again, it's great to have you here. Excited to start the week off with a little bit of inspiration, hopefully a little motivation to move you in that right direction for these next few days. So here's what I've been thinking about quite a bit over the past couple weeks, and it's that a lot of us are, I would say, in a troubling space right now. We don't have the same ambition or drive or relentlessness that we used to, and much of it is based on really our ability to have to compromise over and over and over the past year to 2 years. Now, much of that and much of the sacrifice that we have made has been for, as they say, the greater good. Our ability to be able to help each other out while there's been a global pandemic, and many of the issues that we, of course, have had to deal with are not necessarily chosen by us, so we didn't necessarily ask to be in a certain predicament, but nonetheless, we found ourselves there, and we had to make sure that we did our very best. What we have, though, is now what we would call in the health-based field a chronic-based condition, meaning that a condition that is no longer just a week or 2 weeks or whatever it might be, but it's an ongoing state that a human finds themselves in, and they become a little bit depressed. They become a little bit down, even if they're not someone that has typically been depressed or down in the past. And I've been giving this a lot of thought because I hear about it quite a bit from our community. We have such an amazing, online global health community. I hear about it from people in Australia and in Europe and, of course, all over the United States, etc. And what I've really found is that over time, there seems to be a degrading of what we believe or what we believe our beliefs to be. Meaning that over time, if we continue to compromise who we feel we are, we lose a lot of that vitality we once had. And that's because if we don't wake up necessarily in the morning with a belief of who we are and what we want to accomplish, our days don't have as much meaning. So what I ask you is this. And my beliefs are not for me to pass on to you. My beliefs are for me to believe, but I need you to have to start to create a set of beliefs for who you are, for who your family is. And I need you every single morning when you wake up to begin to move forward and to live those beliefs. And when something comes across your desk or in front of you that you don't necessarily believe in, it is not your job to begin to degrade those beliefs based on another human being. It's one of the strange positions we are at right now in life, is that we are being told what our beliefs should be. And we're told that because of this certain fact checker or that fact checker or this person or that person, when we have to understand that these are all human beings. And these human beings come with all of their own beliefs. And being a human being, that means that we simply believe in different things as well. It doesn't mean that one person's beliefs are that much greater than another person's, but what it does mean is that we, through our own personal belief system, are allowed to choose the way that we choose to live. So why does this matter? Why do I bring up this topic for today? Well, the reason is this, is that it's never been any different. So if we look back hundreds of years, if we're a student of history, if we look back thousands of years, this has always been an ongoing theme in our world. There has always been a reason to stand up and fight for what you believe in. So every single day I wake up having to fight. What I look for is for two main reasons in this world. One is for my daughters, for my family. I need to make sure that the world doesn't envelop them with the world's beliefs. Now, many of those beliefs I share myself. However, when it comes to, it's no big deal, just have a little bit of artificial flavors, a little bit of artificial dye, just take these medications, just all these little small justs along the way, all these different degrading of our overall beliefs over time allow us to just assimilate into a world we may or may not really want to assimilate into. So my job as a father, as someone who has a certain set of beliefs, is to pass along to my daughters until they are of age for them themselves to decide what those beliefs should be. And that's one of integrity, and that's one of not necessarily doing always the easy thing. And that's another topic that I'd like to share with you here today. Much of the decisions we are being made are to make the easy choice right now, to do the thing that's easy in the moment. But the hard things I've always found in life, the hard decisions that we need to make, the hard decisions that we put off, those are the ones that end up making our lives that much easier a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now. It is making the hard decision now that is difficult in the moment that makes life a whole lot easier down the road. I remember when I was growing up and in high school, I used to make or try to make the easier decisions, right? So I would make an easier decision to stay up later than I should, to eat all the fun foods, the poor quality foods, right? That I wouldn't get as much sleep as I should, that I took the allergy-based medications, I took the sleep-based medications my doctors would give me. And all of it led to, being able to sleep that night, not having allergies that day, going out, having fun with my friends that day. And then what happened was over time, my body collapsed. It was not able to keep up with all of the amoxicillin that I was given, all of the different Sudafed that I was taking during the day, and the Benadryl at night, and the Ambien at night, and the Lunesta, and all these different drugs that over time began to break down my body. Now, in the moment, it was easy to take them. There's no doubt about it. And you know what? They did what they said they were going to do. Took an Ambien, sure, I felt like a zombie the next day, but I fell asleep that night. And nothing a little Sudafed couldn't help in the morning to wake me back up with that norepinephrine boost, right? So we have to understand those were easy decisions to make. And honestly, it was being pushed on me because that's what the dogma of the day was, and of course still is to this day. There's a pill for every ill. You feel this way, you take this pill. And what happened over time though? Destroyed my immune system, destroyed my digestive system, destroyed my neurotransmitters. I ended up with Addison's disease, autoimmune issues, insomnia, all sorts of other issues that then what? It took years to be able to fix all of those. Years of going against the grain, years of finding alternative thinkers that would allow me to piece back together my body and my life. So what I share with you here today is this. Is you might have to make some really difficult decisions on a daily basis for you and for your family. And they may go against the grain. But just remember, while everyone is making easier decisions on a day-to-day basis, and I get it because the world is a hard place. I understand that. It can be challenging, especially with children. But while you are making those easier decisions just to get by on a day-to-day basis, you are allowing all of it to begin to pile up. Remember, those decisions don't get to be pushed down the road forever. Everything comes with a consequence, right? Everything comes with a price. So at some point, you have to be willing to pay the price today in order to enjoy and live the life that you want to years from now. And again, that's the thing, is it's not always even tomorrow. You have to somehow be willing to delay gratification to know that this is the right decision. And how do you know it's the right decision? The only way that you know it's the right decision for you is to begin to live by a set of principles and beliefs of who you are. And you might say, well, I don't know necessarily who I am. Well, it starts with believing and understanding of who you want to be. So first, choose a character. Choose the best version of yourself that you want to be. And when you understand who that person is, you can say, okay, what would that person do on a daily basis? What decisions would they make in their everyday life for themselves, for their children, for their family? What would that look like? And how would they eat? How would they sleep? What health-based decisions would they make? And those decisions, those are the ones that you'll start to make on a daily basis. And every time you get tripped up a little bit, you'll say, okay, you don't have to be perfect. But again, what would this person do based on this set of beliefs? When you do that, you are going to be infinitely happier. You might say, well, how will I be infinitely happier when I have to make these harder decisions? Because hard decisions, believe it or not, hard work are actually very satisfying. When you do something that isn't the easy choice, we all know when we do the hard thing, right? We do the hard thing not because it's hard, but because it's the right thing to do. Right? And you also know when you did something just because it's the easy way out. My daughter was asking me this the other day. It was very interesting because I wasn't feeling my best. And she said, what do you do when you don't want to go to work necessarily that day? And I know she was thinking about it from the perspective that she didn't necessarily want to do her schoolwork and that type of thing. And I thought about it for a moment and I said, well, you have to understand is that I've made a commitment. And again, when I talk to either one of my daughters, they're 7 and 9 years old. I've been talking to them the same way since they were, 4 and 6 years old, is that I talk to them as my children, but also as free thinkers, as regular human beings. And I allow them to up-level their thinking instead of me talking down to them. And I think that's really important for our children as well. So I said to my daughter, I said, you have to understand is that I made a commitment. So I've made a commitment to every day showing up for my team and all the different companies that I run. That's a commitment that I take very seriously. And if I have less energy that day, if I was battling a cold that day, if I was stressed about something else that day, that does not change my commitment to my team whatsoever. I've made a commitment to them. And so I explained that to my daughter. And I said, it does not matter how I feel that day. I made a commitment. And I shared with her that this started actually many, many years ago when I was first doing consultations one-on-one, whether it be for nutrition, personal training, athletics, etc. I said, when a client hired me, if I hadn't got sleep that night, I was dealing with all sorts of different diseases back then. It didn't matter. They hired me to do a specific job. They didn't need to know anything else I had going on. What I did was I had to show up. And I had to be my very best for them. And I shared that same thing. I said, beyond just work, though, I also made a commitment. I've made a commitment to our family. And I said this to my daughter. That means that just because I'm having a bad day, or just because I might not be feeling my best, because again, I'm trying to empathize with my daughter. I know that she doesn't necessarily want to do school that day, is that is a commitment I've made not only to my team, but also to my family. That this is my profession. This is the work that I love, but this is also what I've committed to for our family. This is the way that I create a career for our family. And I said, and that's very important to me as well. So you have to understand, I said to her, that we're all going to have bad days. Hopefully we have a whole lot more good days than bad days. But on the times that we have bad days, we have to simply go back to our commitment. And the commitment has to be something strong enough to carry you through those bad days, because those bad days may last a week or two. And so your conviction, your ability not to compromise, has to be strong enough based on a set of beliefs. Luckily, my belief in my family, my commitment to my family, for my two daughters, my belief in my teams, for the mission, the work that we are doing, is strong enough that allows me to push through if I'm having a bad day. Now, luckily, and I'm very fortunate now, I don't feel like I have a whole lot of bad days. But when there are those times, I am able to draw down at a deeper level. I'm able to wake up in the morning and say, Well, maybe today's not the best day, but that's okay. We're going to do the work anyways. We're going to do the right thing anyway. We're going to make the right decision. And we are not going to compromise because it's the easy thing to do today, because that is a slippery slope. When you begin to compromise who you are and what your beliefs are, because it's the easy thing to do that day, it's always going to come back to bite you, because you know what you compromised on. And you know that is the road to misery. When you begin to give up a piece of who you are every single day, or every time a lot of these decisions come by, you start to say, who am I really? What am I living for? Whose life am I living, right? So if I make decisions that aren't necessarily popular, that go against the grain in terms of other people's view of health, other people's view of medicine, other people's view of food, that's okay. I'm okay with being different in that way, because I'm standing up for what I believe in. And I have a real reason why I believe those things. I know what poor food does to the human body. I know what a lack of exercise does. I know what a lack of sleep does. I know what high levels of stress do, right? I know what it does for adults, and I know what it happens to children's body as well. So if I have to make hard decisions for my daughters, for them not to be allowed to do something because I know it's detrimental to their body, I'm going to make that decision every single day, even if they're not happy about it. And I'm going to make the same decisions for myself. I am going to go to the gym on the days that I don't necessarily feel like I want to, because it's in the days that I don't necessarily feel like I want to that I'm pushing and strengthening my resolve, that I'm deepening my character of who I want to be, not just who I believe that I am, but who that I want to be. Because every single time I make a decision to reinforce the beliefs that I have, I become stronger in those particular beliefs. And that allows me then to make the decisions that I have to on a daily basis to be that much stronger for my family, for my friends, for myself, for my team. So every time, again, you feel like it's you against the world, you feel like you're the only one who feels this way, don't feel that way. There's a lot of people who hold those beliefs right now. And what I need you to do is stay strong in your character, stay strong in your beliefs, and begin to understand that you do not have to compromise. It is your life. Live it, enjoy it. And again, hopefully this show was helpful. Hopefully provided a little bit of inspiration for the week. If it was helpful, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing week. Thank you so much for just tuning into today's show. And before you go, I want to make sure that you know that Equilife has done it again. We are actually giving away a limited supply of free vitamin D tests all this week while supplies last over at Equilife. Head on over to stevencabral.com/Equilife to see if you qualify for a free vitamin D lab test. This is a lab test that you can use yourself or anyone actually in the family to test your vitamin D levels. Remember, you cannot guess, you must test, and that especially goes for vitamin D. If you want to know if you're at the optimal level of sun, of getting a tan, of taking a vitamin D supplement, the only way that you will know if you are at your optimal level of vitamin D is to test. And that is why we want to give away this $99 lab test completely free on all qualifying orders while supplies last over at Equilife right now. Head on over to stevencabral.com/Equilife for all the details and grab your vitamin D test before they're gone.